Moving on from this, big game this weekend for Arsenal. They went out of the Carabao Cup. We've heard a little bit of bigger fish to fry again. Another percentage of Arsenal fans, listen, big up Lee, big up Northside, big up the manager's got to go. Disgraceful performance. He's got to be sacked for going out of the Carabao Cup. Both quite extreme opinions, in my opinion, for a team that's doing well in the league and we're in November. Firstly, on the game, how do you think they're going to react to that West Ham defeat and perform this forthcoming weekend?
I think Arsenal going on the Carabao Cup should be very disappointing for them, and I'll tell you why. Look, I've always been consistent. All four trophies are major trophies, in my opinion. Every single one of them are major trophies. The Premier League, the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. Now, when Arsenal looked at that season, would they have taken a Carabao Cup alone? Of course they wouldn't have. We know that that's not the case, because I don't want people to twist my words. I'm not saying that they would have just taken the Carabao Cup. No big club, and I mean no big club, other than Spurs, which proves they're not a big club, would take a Carabao Cup only season. No one would want that. If I asked Terry in August, would you take just the Carabao Cup? He would have said no. So let's remove that idea, that context. I think winning, there's something called winning breeds winning. And I deeped it 2 days ago, and it's something that I thought of. I want, this is not about Liverpool, but I'm going to use my club as an example. I want Liverpool Football Club to win the Carabao Cup because I want the Liverpool 2.0, the new players, to get a medal, to taste that taste of success, because winning breeds winning. And that's just how life works. Alex Ferguson's first trophy was a Carabao Cup. Jose Mourinho's first trophy was a Carabao Cup. Pep Guardiola's first trophy was a Carabao Cup. So many different managers came in. They won the Carabao Cup and used it as a trophy to catapult them to something else. Because when you win something, it pushes you on to try win more and more and more and more. From Arsenal's perspective, the problem that they have is they can't guarantee that they win the Champions League. They can't guarantee that they win the Premier League. They can't guarantee that they win the FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup, Man City are no longer in it. The big bad wolf, if you would like, is no longer in it. Man United just got eliminated by Newcastle. So Arsenal Football Club would have been essentially 2 games away from a game at Wembley. Essentially 2 games away from a final. And all these young players that they've got, the likes of, the Martinellis, the Sakas, even the new players, the Rices, they would have felt the feeling, Saliba, Gabriel, they would have felt the feeling of winning with Arsenal Football Club, which would have pushed them on to do more. And I think Arsenal fans should be extremely disappointed with the result. All this bigger fish to fry nonsense is absolute rubbish, with all due respect. I think it's absolute rubbish. I don't believe in this whole bigger fish to fry crap. The only trophy, which I genuinely believe does not matter, is the Community Shield. Because you don't need to win anything to be in it. And literally, me and you are both old enough to remember when it was shared. Arsenal and Spurs, who are rivals, have a shared Community Shield. So I have every right. I have every right to kind of push that trophy to the side. But
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on the Community Shield, and I think they should be disappointed to have gone out. I thought it was a poor performance. I think the performance was predicated by the seeds planted by a big percentage of Arsenal fans that it doesn't matter if we don't win. I don't really care as long as we do better elsewhere. I don't like that attitude. I liken it to when managers and fans say, we've got a lot of games coming up, we're so tired, or we're playing Thursday, Sunday, it means we're going to be too tired to perform. I think this is all seeds of doubt that can then be used as excuses later on down the line. So I think Arsenal fans should be bitterly disappointed they're out. I agree with the Arsenal fans like Lee and Northside, Brandon's Gunnar Souls that comes on here, how disappointed they were to go out. Where I disagree is that at this stage for them, the baby out with the bathwater of sack the manager, because beat Newcastle this weekend, they could be top of the league come Monday. City are probably going to beat Bournemouth, but they could be, and they're in the title race as far as I'm concerned. So I wouldn't sack him because of it. However,
imagine Bournemouth get something against City now.
Imagine. They beat Newcastle, which is, by the way, we'll get into the game in a minute. It's a very hard game, and I'm not dismissing the Toon Army. 100%, I'm not doing that. If they do it, they're in a great position. But going out the Carabao Cup the way they did, with the squad they've got now, with the money they have spent, it's I don't know what you call it, but like a box ticked or a strike where you say, come the end of the season, should you not be close to winning the league? Should you not win another trophy? then suddenly not winning the Carabao Cup becomes more of a problem. If they go on to win the league, nobody will care. If they win the FA Cup, come second in the league, get to a Champions League final, no one will care. Win the Champions League, nobody will care. Win nothing, and maybe go out early in the Champions League quarterfinals. Maybe finish 15 points at the top, just making a number up here. Then going out becomes a major problem, which is why you can't just say, it doesn't matter, onto something bigger and better, because you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know the problems that you might face. And imagine you could have kept yourself in this tournament and then you're in a semi-final come January, but by then you've fallen off in the league. You'd rather, what's better? Coming third and winning nothing, or coming third and winning the Carabao Cup? Winning the Carabao Cup. So I think they should be disappointed, but I wouldn't go. I understand, by the way, when it comes to Northside and Lee, that they want the manager sacked irrespective. They don't think he's ever going to win a major trophy. So I know that they see it from there's a much deeper level for them. But I don't think he should be sacked after going out the Carabao Cup because of where they are in other competitions. But now there is more pressure upon them to win. And what's really interesting for me is we've grown a lot of Arsenal fans on the terrace in the last few years. I think they're becoming a scary team. They're one of the favourites to win the league this year. But what's really would trouble me if I was an Arsenal fan is the amount of Gooners that hate the idea that they have to win trophies. I think to myself, do you know what club you're supporting? Do you know how big Arsenal are? Do you know that the only reason you're as big as you are is because of the volume, the vat of trophies that you have won? So there has to be pressure on them to win, the same as there is Liverpool, the same as there is City and Chelsea and Man United. Those 5 members of the top 6, there should always be tremendous pressure upon them to win. And Spurs, maybe.
If they leave the season empty-handed, that's when Northside and Liga are right, in my opinion. Yes. Now, if they don't believe that Arteta could win anything, then fair enough. I'm not going to tell them what to believe as Arsenal fans. That's up to them. I think it's just reactionary right now to say that you want the manager out, in my opinion. Like it's still a step too far. But at the end of the day, look, they have the right to feel whatever they want to feel. But I also think, I mean, I know Lee really values trophies and stuff, and he kind of looks at it differently. But had they ended the season with just the Carabao Cup, they wouldn't really be fully in backing Arteta. They would find a way to minimize it. So I think he needs to win a trophy. But also, we can't 100%. He knows. Danny knows what I just said.
I want to say on that, right? I want to say on that. I got into it with a few people on Twitter the other day. It was about Man United. And they're very similar to Lee. And what I found they all do, it's a very clever tactic by these guys this season. I want to praise them for this, is when they're asked the what ifs, they say, well, I'll answer that when it happens. What if you win this? Or what if this happens? Well, then I'll tell you then. Because none of them, and this is, you got United fans like it, Liverpool fans like it, Arsenal. If they say what they will do with the what if, then they're boxed into a corner. And they won't say what if. They won't say, yeah, I'll fully get behind the manager if we win a trophy. Because if they win one, then they've got to do it no matter what. And they won't do that. But yeah, listen, if they win nothing this year, and they don't come close. Like, listen, if they end up on 97 points and miss out on winning the league by 1 point, I don't think it's sackable. Because to accumulate that amount of points, you've got to be a tremendous team. And why would you risk like damaging that? Because the new manager might not be as good. But if they fall well out of a title race, don't win the FA Cup, go out early in the Champions League now, Arteta's job is under massive threat because they've built a very good squad. They've built a very good squad. They're ready. They should be ready to win now. And if he can't start getting them over the line, you've got to look at that. You've got to.
What if Arsenal get to the Champions League final? Then are you going to sack him too? Because here's the thing. I understand every single, if you are a Liverpool, United, City, Chelsea fan, you want to win trophies. Arsenal fan, you want to win trophies. I get you. I'm with you. I want to win trophies too. Please don't think I want to leave the season empty-handed. But I'm saying context must apply. Let us be realistic. Let's assume Arsenal leave the season empty-handed. But they challenge for the league and end up finish third, let's say, or second, and they get to the Champions League final. Which director of football with a functioning brain cell would sack Arteta at said point in time? Because this is your first time back in the Champions League in 8 years. In 8 years. So you're not going to go and sack the manager after getting to a Champions League final. You're going to go like, okay, this proves to me that this guy is the guy. So I'm going to give him 1 or 2 more pieces and we're going to try go for it again. They can just edit what they have to do. But the reality is context matters. Yeah. People dislike listening to this. Context matters.
Anybody that likes that doesn't like context has an agenda that they don't want to be proven wrong with. That's and that's not a dig at Lee or anybody like that. You have to have context because I'm sure in their heart of hearts, if they miss out on winning the Prem by a point, but they're brilliant. They narrowly miss out on winning the Champions League in the final to Man City, who, it's a close game to win 2-1. You have to think long and hard about sacking the manager after that if you can still see progression. I think progression and trajectory is key. And you have to look at this, what I spoke about earlier with Man United. Who is available that plays a similar brand of football, that can also mentally take your squad to the next level?
Conte, apparently.
Well, but this is the thing. Well, Conte couldn't. If Conte took over this Arsenal team, I think they'd regress because the style of football they've been taught to play, they suddenly got to learn a new style. Which is why when Jose and Conte took over this Tottenham squad, who by the way, the whole Tottenham system, even their academy, played good football. Poch played good football. Suddenly, you brought these pragmatists in to try and teach them, make them play in a different way. That's why they struggled. It wasn't because the managers are bums. It's because they were asked to play a style of football that goes against the grain of that football club. It doesn't work. Funnily enough, they bring a more attack-minded manager in, and they instantly click into gear. And if Spurs, my apologies, would have sacked Poch and gone for a manager like a Postecoglou straight away, they would not have dropped off the way they have done over the last few years. Who knows? They may have won something by now. You have to stick to what your club's...
They won nothing with Poch anyway.
You have to match things up. You guys, Liverpool can't go from Klopp to Simeone. You can't
No. Fuck that.
You can't. And that's not because Conte and Simeone are not top-class managers. It's because what's been built at your club under FSG, the profile of footballer, the way your academy plays, the way your whole club operates is different to how they coach. It's not a match that works, At the end of the day, you have to get
Imagine Simeone playing Mo Salah left wing back. That would stink.
But this is the point. It needs to happen that way. And it still staggers me in 2023 why football fans can't comprehend this. It's not about saying Simeone's bad. I actually think, looking at what Ten Hag has said in the last few days and how we're trying to play football, I think Simeone and Conte are perfect for what we're trying to do. Same way Jose was year one. Year two to a certain degree. It will still go wrong because we're run awfully. But in the short term, they'll get better results, in my opinion, than managers that want to play a more open, possession-based style, more tiki-taka, more heavy metal style football. I just think because the players aren't used to that. And that's obvious and key to see. But yeah, I don't think it's time to sack him as of right now. In terms of